Welcome to another Cardano update. Like always, make sure to check out our YouTube memberships and our Patreon if you want access to all of our charts and if you want access to our daily Discord updates. So here on the 4-hour chart, we are still in a 1-2 setup. We have been trying to complete a 1-2 setup for the last couple of weeks now, so if we do not manage to get above, let's say, this high right here at about 45 cents, this could mean that this structure might turn into a much bigger ABC structure. If you look at the RSI, we dropped below the trend line right there, which means that so far we have been rejected about 5 or 6 times, and that's not really good because right now, if we do end up getting rejected again, this could lead to another move to the downside, and the C wave of the AB structure right here could even put us at 38.7 cents, but as long as we manage to stay above the support zone, we could always start a much bigger third wave, and the target for that is at 51.8 cents, but remember that if we drop below this 0.786 support level, we're also gonna break below the other 0.786, which is the 0.786 of a much bigger AB structure on the chart, and dropping below that could suggest that right now Cardano might drop to 31.8 cents to test the other 0.786 of another, 1-2 setup on the chart, but for the time being, as long as we manage to stay above the red support zone, then I'm going to assume that we are still in a 1-2 AB structure, and other than that, on the daily chart right here, we are still above the trend line on the RSI, which I believe is a very good sign because we have been in a downtrend for the last couple of months and we broke out of it. So right now, if we manage to stay above the trend line and if we manage to actually bounce off of it, that could be very good, but like I said, we still need to get a 5-wave move to the upside if we want to confirm that the low is in. So the 5th wave right here could even put us maybe above 60 cents, and that's going to put us at the bull market support band, and that's going to complete a much bigger 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 setup, which is going to complete a much bigger first, and then after that we could get an ABC down for the second, and then this is going to act as a rejection of the bull market support band, and we'll see if we manage to get the third wave after that. But I think for the time being everything is still looking pretty fine. And going to the Bitcoin chart real quick, on the 4-hour we are still below resistance, which is not really surprising, but what we have over here looks like a 1-2 setup. So if we manage to break above $92,700 and then let's say about $96,800, we should then start the C wave of an AB structure of a third wave on the chart, and the target for that is at $101,000. If we manage to get to these levels, we might overextend a bit just so we could also test the bull market support band, and then after we do that, we're probably gonna get rejected, which is either gonna act as an AB structure or something else, and it could always be a 1-2 setup obviously, so please be careful. So obviously, if we do end up getting to the bull market support band right now, we're probably gonna get rejected, but again, this is what always happens after we find a low. For example, back in this area, it took a couple of days to actually break above it, and yeah, if we do not manage to get above resistance right now, then you could say that Bitcoin is still in a much bigger 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 setup to the downside. So if we break below $85,900, which is the 0.786 support level for the B wave to the downside, then you could say that maybe right now we're gonna get the 5th wave to the downside, and what we had over here was just some kind of weird ABC structure for the 4th wave to the upside, meaning that the price could even drop to $70,000, but even if it does, like I said many videos ago, that's gonna complete a much bigger A wave, and then after that we're still gonna get an ABC for the B wave, so nothing really changes. Even if we do get another low, I'm still expecting a move to the bull market support band at some point, because that move always happens every single cycle, no matter if we're in a bear market or a bull market. Even here back in 2021, after we went from, let's say, $67,000 all the way down to $32,000, we did go sideways for a couple of months, but then at some point we tested the bull market support band, and we tested it a bunch of times, and only after we got rejected by the bull market support band, that's what led to the C wave to the downside after getting an AB structure. Also, just to give you an idea of what the B wave can do, I mean, here we went up about, let's say, 43%, and back in 2017, I believe we went up even more than that. From that low over there to that high, we went up about 95%, and back in 2013, I believe it was even more. So if you take that low over there of the B wave, from, let's say, $400, we went up to about $1,000, which was a 154% move to the upside. So right now, the B wave to the upside should, in my opinion, be at least a 50% move to the upside, and that would put us around all-time highs. So I don't know if that's gonna happen exactly this way, but all I know is that we always get a move to the bull market support band. So other than that, please do not forget that right here on the daily chart, we got extremely oversold in November, and we have not been this oversold ever since we got this low right here in 2023. And why is that important? Because after 2023, as you can see, the price just went sideways for a couple of weeks, just like it's doing right now, and then at some point it broke above the bull market support band, and that's what gave us new all-time highs. By the way, to get above the bull market support band, we needed to break above the moving average on daily RSI, and that's exactly what we did right now. So if you look at the RSI, we are still above the moving average there, meaning that we could start a much bigger move to the upside, which again could put us at the bull market support band or even above it. Moving on to the weekly chart, on the Cardano chart, there's nothing to talk about here because as you can see, we're not really doing anything, but we are staying above the 0.786 support level, which I believe is a very good sign. Please remember that the last couple of times we tested this major support zone right here, the price bounced, for example, back here. After we found that low over there, the price went to about $1.17, and then again it happened right there and even right there. So I think we could get a move to the bull market support band in the next couple of weeks, but obviously people do not want to hear about that because people right now think that we're in a bear market, but I do not believe that we're in a bear market because Bitcoin dominance is still at cycle highs, and I know I've been saying the exact same thing for over a year now, but nothing really changes. If you look at the Bitcoin dominance chart, it's exactly where it was 1 year ago, so of course I'm gonna have the exact same opinion. And speaking of the Bitcoin dominance chart right here on the weekly, we are about to test the moving average yet again on the RSI, so dropping below it could mean that we're gonna get a move to the downside just because that's exactly what happened back here back in June. After we broke below it, we had a huge move to the downside, which put us from, let's say, 66% all the way down to about 57%, and that's also what happened back in this area. As you can see, we got rejected by the moving average on the RSI after we got below it, and that's what gave us this move to the downside. And speaking of this move, this is where Cardano went up about 300%, so I'm still bullish because at the end of the day, in the previous cycle, the altcoin season did not start over here or, over there. It started when Bitcoin dominance started going down, so of course I'm gonna have the exact same opinion. And speaking of this cycle over here, back when Bitcoin dominance was at about 62% over there, Cardano was at about 12 cents, and back here I believe in 2017, when Bitcoin dominance was at 71%, if you look at the ADA chart, back then it was right in this area, which was between 1 and 2 cents. So I think everything is still looking pretty fine, but like I said, everybody's bearish right now. But again, just like I said in every single video so far, on the RSI on the weekly, we bounced exactly where we bounced a couple of times in the past, and this RSI level is important because, as you can see, each time we got to that RSI, the price found a low, and then after that we went to, new highs, at least in the short term. Obviously here it was a bear market, but even there, after we tested the trend line, that's what gave us a move to the bull market support band. And this might not seem like a big move, but we went up about 60% in a matter of like 35 days. So again, as long as we stay above that low right there at 27 cents, I'm still gonna be bullish because the 1-2-AB structure is still gonna be valid, but breaking below that low right there is going to completely invalidate my 1-2-AB structure, meaning that the only scenario left is gonna be this 1-2 setup, and dropping below 22 cents over there, which is the bear market low of 2023, is going to confirm that right now ADA is in a much bigger ABC structure for the much bigger 1-2 setup on the chart. But even if it is, and even if we drop to the 0.618 support level over here for the much bigger 1-2 setup, that's gonna put us at 13 cents, and after that we could still get to all-time highs because, like I said, it's gonna complete a 1-2, and what comes after a 1-2? It's a third wave to the upside. So obviously people do not want Cardano to drop to 13 cents because some of them probably bought at like $1, but if you bought down here or even down here, you are probably gonna do just fine because after that we're still expecting a move to the upside. But again, if you FOMO'd in, then it's probably your fault. But again, as long as we hold above support, this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 setup could still be completed, and my target for the third wave of the third wave is still at $3.50, so that's still valid. And if we manage to get to these levels, we could then get a fourth wave, and a fifth wave could even put us at maybe like $8, but in the long term. And going to the Bitcoin chart real quick, I want to mention again that on the RSI we got to the exact same RSI levels as we did back in 2020 during the pandemic drop, and I think this is very important because right now, if we manage to break above this other trend line on the chart, which is at an RSI of about 44, it could mean that Bitcoin might overextend the cycle until May, because in this cycle each time we found a low, after that we went up for about 6 months, so that could put us in May if this was actually the real low. But to confirm that something bullish is going on, we have to break above the trend line like I said, and then we have to break above the moving average on the RSI, test it and then bounce off of it, and that could put us at this trend line right here, which was used as resistance about 3 times. So even if we do end up getting another all-time high, Bitcoin is probably going to be rejected exactly at this trend line, and that's going to lead to the bear market, which is going to lead us to the oversold territory like it did, for example, back there, or even back in 2017, or even back in 2013. So that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to check out our YouTube memberships and our Patreon if you want access to all of our charts and if you want access to our daily Discord updates. Like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.